the risk of getting Will Smith in the face. Can you tell us?
Nice contemporary reference.
Yeah, well done.
I think the
Virgin.
I think that I've been preparing for the virgin role my entire life. No, I'm kidding.
Hello. What's up, guys? I'm your host and popcorn buddy, Chinmaya Sharma, aka Scuba Chino, and welcome to a man's life's presentation of Starstruck. Joining us today is the amazing cast and the director of Netflix's latest blockbuster, Eternally Confused and Eager for Love. I know it's a mouthful, but give it up for the director Rahul Nair, Vihaan Samat, and the voice in his head, Sarbh. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Rahul, I'm going to start off with you, mate. Fantastic job. It's so fresh. The humor is amazing. It's about time that the Indian audiences get a little bit of dry and sharp humor, which I think you've nailed perfectly. Jim, my first question is for you, because I remember just after Rocket Boys, I remember you saying there were days where you'd be on your director's neck like a noose saying, I can do this, I want to do this, I can give you a better take. Did you have a similar relationship with Rahul on the sets of Eternally Confused?
Well, I wasn't on the sets. The show was already edited and ready, so we just met in the recording booth, and essentially, I think we. I don't think that I was on his neck, but I think that we would just, we had the luxury of time. An entire set is not waiting for you, basically. Right. So we can play around a little bit. I can be like, can we try this? He can be like, oh, that's given me an idea. Why don't you try this? And so then, we would reach things, and some of them made it to the show and some of them didn't.
Right, Vihaan, I'm going to come to you, man. It's, again, there's an extreme vulnerability about your character, but then you have these bursts of charm. And I'm guessing you're completely different in real life. I'm hoping, I guess it's not a problem. How do you get into a character of someone who's so vulnerable? What's your process like, man?
It was a lot of workshopping. It was a lot of guidance from Rahul. I've trained as an actor, but when it comes to being completely relaxed and 100% on set, that requires a certain amount of collaboration. Right. And luckily, in the scenes where I did need a moment, or I did need to take my time, I would inform Rahul in the first CD saying, like, look, after rolling, can I take 10 seconds? Then can we start it? So when it came to the heavier scenes, we definitely had some more time with it. And for the comedic stuff, I feel like it was all in the lines. I mean, like the moments were there. All you had to do was play your part. And thankfully I could.
Jim, I can say this from experience that when your entire character of an entire show has to just be a voice, it's a lot tougher, man, because you don't have a face, you don't have a hands. You're just using your voice to express someone else's emotions. How do you, I don't think you've ever done something like this. How do you prepare for a role which is just voice?
You don't really. You just kind of go there and do it. I didn't think it was that hard, actually. I thought it was more fun than hard. That's for sure.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. What's the big deal? You just exaggerate slightly and you know exactly what the person is feeling when they say that thing. Like, I could do it a bit flatter in real life if you could see that my face was morose and upset. But since you can't, you just have to put the cry in the voice.
Rahul, mate.
Yes.
Again, parents. It's very, very, very difficult to portray parents, and you've done it. Of course, it's slightly exaggerated, I would believe. But when you wrote these two characters, when you conceptualize the parents who are a little over the top, they can be in your grill, but most of the times they come from a good place. Did you have any parents in mind? And would you mind telling us at the risk of getting Will Smith in the face? Can you tell us?
Nice contemporary reference.
Yeah, well done. No, it's definitely not my parents, that's for sure. Otherwise, I would be kicked out of the house after the show release. But I did see that, like, I feel like what I noticed was there's a difference between having soft pressure, the type of parents like, oh, we're going to organize your entire romantic life, we're going to get you married. And then you sort of, as a child, you accept that as your journey, right? And then the other type of parents on the other end of the spectrum who are like, do what you want and figure it out, But then I feel like it's the middle where you actually get stuck, where a mother is not saying, I'm going to do this for you. She's like suggesting it. And if you say yes, you are now complicit. Like you've agreed. So now it's almost the onus is on you to either buckle under the pressure, very soft pressure. Like I just want to help you. or like venture out on your own path. And for someone like Ray, it's easy to buckle because I mean it seems easier than like the Wild West that is dating in a city.
Yeah, Vihaan, I'm in awe of your character. Ray is so good because and I know Jim hates it when you just kind of concise the entire character into one word like virgin. And I know she's done that several times, but I saw that, man. There's so many layers in your character, and I'm sure, like you said, you had to workshop and a lot of workshops. What traits from Ray came out easiest that you could bring out from your normal life, and which parts of them were like, shit, I really need to get this out from somewhere?
I think the virgin bit. Yeah. I think that I've been preparing for the virgin role my entire life. No, I'm kidding. I think what we initially what Rahul used to tell me was you're a bit more confident than Ray is, and you're a bit more outspoken and a bit more like easy to speak with than Ray. So right. The parts where I had to be like snarky or funny and all that I could do. We had to really tone it in a certain way for the entire show and be in the space of awkwardness for 50 days. I think that's what I worked on most, and that's what I kept in my mind the entire time.
But look, Vihaan, tell me, when you're shooting for something where you almost constantly have a voice in your head who's actually not on set. Again, this is something that baffles me because, I mean, you actors do with such finesse on the final product. On set, what really happens when, what will Rahul's direction be where, this is what you need to say, but you need to imagine Jim is voicing something at the same time?
So we had our good friend Azim Banatwala on set who had helped with the show, and he was feeding me the lines. Okay. So I would come into set. First of all, I had to prepare both points of view because Wiz is essentially Ray. So I had to understand both points of view, and I had to prepare a scene the same way I prepare a scene with another scene partner, another person, just he's not there. So right. I had to, I mean, it was great in terms of like an ego boost. The camera's always on me. But in terms of, I had to know when to leave space for certain thoughts to happen. And it's not like I can't look at someone unless I'm looking at the Wiz toy. Sometimes it's just processing. So the line feeding was actually, in my head, I had to process it as my thought. And I think that was the main thing that I had to do to make it seem real.
But Rahul, where does that toy come from? And this character Wiz, I'm sure there is a backstory. Where does that little face come from?
Actually, there's no backstory. When we wrote the show, I'd written like wizard character just because it felt like it's nice to have, like you have most shows and movies have that sort of older man who's the mentor, and it's sort of funny to have that guy also being like not very wise, potentially, and just so it was a nice juxtaposition. And then we designed it. We had a graphic artist come. I mean, a really famous artist actually. His name is Vihaan Samat Rahul. He came and designed this in like half an hour. He was like, "Does this work?" And we're like, "Yeah, amazing." And then we made like a 3D version of it. We like added color, and then we made like bobblehead versions, and we just like turned it into a whole thing.
That's amazing. And do you guys, because look, Wiz is essentially at times he's your voice of reason. At times he's just a straight up dick. Do you guys have been a Wiz for anyone in life? Ram, I want to start with you. Have you ever been that guy who's the voice of reason or needs a Wiz in your life?
No, I feel like nobody asked me for advice, and therefore I don't give advice because I don't want to, but I do give myself a lot of advice, I feel, because I feel like I don't think I have a separate voice in my head, but I do converse with myself in my head. Like you make pros and cons and you decide things based on like best possible and worst possible outcomes. So I'm always telling myself like what to do, and then when it goes wrong, I'm like, why did you say that to yourself? So it's a bit of like, it's constant advice followed by a review process.
Vihaan, how about you, buddy? Do you have a Wiz in your life, or are you Wiz to anyone?
I try not to be, because then I have to take responsibility for what I've said. But sometimes I genuinely enjoy just giving like relationship advice and then seeing how it goes. I've been in a relationship for more than 2 years now. So like I gladly watch from the sidelines as other people are going through things, and I'm like, we should try this. You know what? It's all about communication. And I feel really old after a while. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah.
Jim, how about you, man? The Wiz himself.
I think with close friends, you wind up being some version of Wiz, right? You tease them for certain things and you support them for certain things. And you you give them advice if you have it or they ask for it, and you accept also advice and teasing and all of that stuff.
Thank you guys. I hope you guys had a good time. I had an absolute blast. It's always good to meet you. Rahul, it was amazing. Vihaan, it was amazing to get to know you. And wish all three of you success and nothing less. And I hope this show gets all the accolades it deserves and then a little more.